He dragged the sack out of the rusted heap, coughing as the dust clung to his throat, already regretting being alive today. Nothing good ever started with mystery sacks in junkyards, yet here he was, broke, lonely, and desperate enough to check if the universe had gifted him something useful. Then he heard it, a tiny, wavering voice, "Mom," his blood froze. He squatted down, eyes darting left and right, half expecting a prank camera crew to leap out and yell at him for starring in a galactic reality show called Creeps Who Pick Up Children from Trash. The sack wriggled. His pulse skipped. He muttered, "Great, either I'm about to be mugged by mutant raccoons or I'm legally adopting someone." Slowly, he loosened the knot and peeled back the cloth. Inside, glowing violet skin shimmered under the sunlight. Wide, wet eyes blinked up at him. The voice came again, soft, almost pitiful. "Mom," he swallowed hard. Out of all the ways the galaxy could humiliate him, it had chosen this one. He wasn't a parent. He barely managed to keep himself alive on instant noodles and cheap whiskey. He couldn't raise whatever this purple bundle was. And yet, as those huge eyes locked onto him, something twisted inside his chest, part guilt, part loneliness, part libido screaming at him to walk away because if the creature really was a kid, he'd end up on a watchlist. The little alien shifted, clutching at his hand with tiny fingers. The skin was warm, soft, strangely human-like. He muttered, "Okay, universe, I get it. You think I'm single, pathetic, and need company. But did it have to be in the form of a sack baby?" He looked around. The scrapyard was silent except for buzzing flies. No one else was coming back for her. Which left him, the idiot with a history of bad decisions, standing there with destiny sucking on his fingertips. "Fine," he sighed. "You win. Call me Mom, call me Dad, call me lunch for all I care, but you're not staying in a sack." He scooped her up, surprised at how light she was, wrapped in rough fabric that smelled like oil and mildew. She clung to him with unnerving trust, as if she already knew he was too soft-hearted to dump her back. He trudged toward his beat-up hover truck, muttering curses at the sky. "First my ex leaves me, then my landlord raises rent, and now I get a cosmic foster kid. Somebody up there has a sick sense of humor." On the drive home, she sat quietly in the passenger seat, eyes darting around with uncanny awareness. He kept stealing glances, trying to figure out what the hell to do. Every time their eyes met, she whispered, "Mom," in that same trembling tone, and every time, he felt another layer of sanity peel away. "Look, kid," he said finally, "I'm not Mom. I don't even qualify as uncle. Best I can be is that guy who didn't leave you in a sack. So let's set the record straight." But she didn't care about his corrections. She just leaned against the window, humming softly, like she had already decided he belonged to her. That humming tugged at something inside him, something he didn't want to admit out loud. It was nice. Dangerous, but nice. By the time he reached his tiny apartment, he was rehearsing excuses. If anyone asked, he'd say she was a rescue pet, genetically modified to look adorable. He carried her inside, set her on his couch, and collapsed opposite her, scrubbing his face with his hands. "What the hell am I supposed to do with you?" he groaned. She tilted her head, hair falling into her glowing eyes, then whispered again, "Mom." The word wasn't just sound, it wrapped around his brain like a hook. He laughed bitterly. "Great. You're either imprinting or hypnotizing me. Either way, I'm screwed." He fetched water, food, whatever scraps he had, and watched her eat with surprising manners. She chewed slowly, almost daintily, before belching loudly and giving him a crooked grin. He blinked. That grin wasn't childlike at all, it was sly, knowing, almost mocking. But before he could dwell on it, she curled up on his couch like she owned the place and drifted into sleep. He sat there, staring at her, torn between panic and reluctant affection. Every bad relationship he'd ever had flashed through his head. The girlfriend who said he had commitment issues, the fling who stole his credit chips, the disastrous one-night stand that ended with him being chased by jealous twins. Now, somehow, he'd stumbled into the most dangerous relationship of all, accidental alien parenthood. He poured himself a drink, downed it, and whispered into the silence, "Mom. That's what you called me. Guess that makes me responsible, huh?" He laughed, a dark, hollow sound, and shook his head. "Figures. I can't even avoid women when they are purple and dumped in trash bags." But under the sarcasm, a flicker of something new burned in him. Responsibility? Attachment? Or maybe just the twisted thrill of knowing his life had just taken a turn so absurd even his ex wouldn't believe it. Either way, he was in. He woke to the sound of clinking bottles. For a second, he thought burglars were raiding his fridge, but then he saw her, purple, smug, sitting cross-legged on his counter with a half-empty beer in one hand and a lit cigar in the other. His jaw dropped. Last night she'd been tiny, whispering "Mom" with watery eyes. Now she was laughing, smoke curling around her like a space lounge diva. "Morning, Mom," she crooned in a low, husky tone that did not belong to a child. Then her translator glitched, switching into that high-pitched whimper, "Mommy, I'm hungry." It switched back, and she winked. "Hungry for whiskey, maybe." He choked. You're not a kid." She blew smoke into his face. "No kidding. I'm 203. Still young in my species. Don't flatter yourself, you didn't rescue a baby, you just saved an old broad with good skincare." His brain short-circuited. All the guilt, the nervous pacing, the frantic Googling about interspecies adoption rights, it all felt like a cosmic prank. "You conned me." She shrugged. "And you fell for it. That makes you the perfect mark, sweetheart. Lonely, soft-hearted, broke. Exactly my type." He groaned. "I should have left you in that sack." "You didn't. And now, you're stuck with me." She hopped off the counter, grabbed his wallet, and started rifling through it. He lunged, but she was faster, already holding his ID up to the light. Hem 36, still renting, no spouse, no savings. Perfect candidate for exploitation. She tucked the card into her sash like a trophy. He snatched at it. "Give that back." She smiled with all her sharp teeth showing. "Relax. I don't want your money. Yet. Organs fetch a better price. Especially kidneys. Yours look healthy." He froze, hand halfway to his side. "You can't be serious." "Oh, I'm always serious when it comes to kidneys." She tapped her temple, smirking. "Don't worry, I wouldn't gut you. Not while you're useful." "Useful? You've got opposable thumbs, a working vehicle, and you don't ask too many questions. That makes you my new partner." His laugh was bitter. "I'm not partnering with a purple scam artist who smokes in my kitchen." She leaned closer, her breath hot with beer. "You already are. Who else would believe you? You bring me to the authorities, I'll just start crying in that child voice, and suddenly you're the creep who kidnapped me. You keep me, and maybe, just maybe, you'll live long enough to enjoy the perks." The word perks lingered in the air, loaded with innuendo. He swallowed hard, and she grinned wider. For the next hour, she acted like she owned the place. Feet on his table, smoking too much, leaving purple ash on the carpet, mocking his taste in furniture. "This couch? Looks like it's seen more rejection than action." She pointed at his single bed. "One pillow. Tragic. You scream lonely man who Googles positions he'll never try." He wanted to kick her out, but she was magnetic, infuriating, impossible to ignore. Every time he barked at her, she fired back with something filthy, funny, or true. When he finally threatened to toss her out, she snapped her fingers, and the translator switched back into tiny voice mode. "Please don't hurt me, Mommy." She widened her eyes, made her lip tremble. His stomach dropped. If anyone heard that, he'd be arrested on the spot. "You wouldn't dare," he hissed. "Oh, I dare." She dropped the act and chuckled, exhaling another puff of smoke. "Face it, darling, you're mine." She strutted to the door, opened it, and waved at a shady figure outside, a smuggler with scales and a half-broken hovercart. "Hey, got a fresh kidney candidate here," she shouted. The man bolted up, panic flooding him. "Are you insane?" He slammed the door shut, shoved her back inside, and hissed, "You can't just auction me off on the porch." She giggled, falling onto his couch. "Relax, I was kidding. Mostly. I just wanted to see your face. Priceless." He clenched his fists. "You're insane." "And you're fun," she shot back, licking beer foam off her lip. "Don't worry. If I wanted you dead, you'd already be on ice. Instead, I'm offering you a deal. Stick with me, play along with my scams, and I'll cut you in. 50-50. Scams. She nodded eagerly. Fake charity drives, counterfeit love potions, pyramid schemes with actual pyramids, you name it. I've been around. I know what sells. Humans? You're gullible, desperate, horny. Perfect customers. He rubbed his face. I'm not a scammer. I fix scrap. That's it. You were a scrap fixer. Now you're with me. Don't fight it. She patted his chest, her hand lingering longer than necessary. Besides, you've got the look. People trust you. You're scruffy, sad, and look like a divorced uncle who means well. We can work with that. The worst part was, she wasn't wrong. He sighed. This is insane. You're insane. I don't want any part of this. She leaned back, stretched, and let her sash slide off one shoulder. Her grin sharpened. Then maybe you'll want part of this. He froze again. The confidence in her eyes wasn't childlike, wasn't innocent, it was predatory, amused, and very, very adult. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but his body betrayed him with curiosity. Don't worry, Mom, she purred. We'll get to that part later. First, kidneys. Then foreplay. He groaned, grabbed a bottle from her pile, and drank. She laughed so hard she nearly fell off the couch, switching back into that high-pitched child voice to mock him. Mommy drinks when she's stressed. Shut up, he muttered. But deep down, he knew the nightmare was only beginning. He came home late, hoping she'd be asleep, but she was perched on his bed, flipping through his phone like it belonged to her. She didn't even glance up. Your search history is depressing. How to tell if an alien is scamming you, cheap kidney insurance, and what does interspecies consent mean? You're a comedy show with legs. He lunged for the phone, but she held it out of reach, grinning wickedly. You're into weird stuff, aren't you? These bookmark sites, oh, honey. Tentacles? Really? That's practically foreplay where I come from. His face burned. Give it back. Relax. I'm not judging. Much. Though I'm impressed you had the stamina to scroll that far. She tossed the phone onto the bed and sprawled back, her sash slipping dangerously low. If you wanted a crash course in alien anatomy, you could have just asked. He sat at the edge of the bed, burying his face in his hands. You're driving me insane. That's my specialty. She propped her head on one hand, studying him. You know, most people would be thrilled to have me around. Free entertainment, business opportunities, and the occasional intergalactic cuddle. You act like I'm a curse. Because you are. She laughed, low and throaty. Then why haven't you thrown me out? He didn't answer. She leaned closer, her voice dropping. Because part of you likes this. The chaos. The risk. The idea that one night, you might wake up without kidneys but with the best story anyone's ever heard. His throat tightened. She was right again. She stretched like a cat, every motion calculated, and then she said it, we should go into business together. Romance scams. He blinked. What? Think about it. You and me, star-crossed lovers from different worlds, selling the fantasy to gullible suckers online. We pose for pictures, send flirty messages, rake in the credits, and vanish before anyone catches on. You've got the sad eyes, I've got the exotic appeal. Together? Unstoppable. He groaned. That's fraud. That's foreplay, she corrected, smirking. Besides, it's not like they don't want it. People pay to feel wanted. That's all we'd give them, cheap validation wrapped in double entendres. She slid closer until their knees touched. We'd be good at it. He hated that he could almost picture it. You don't even like me, he said quietly. She tilted her head. Who said that? I like you fine. You're gullible, desperate, and cute when you panic. That's my type. Plus, you haven't tried to dissect me or sell me yet. Low bar, but you clear it. Your standards are terrible. So are yours. You picked up a sack in the street and thought, yes, I'll adopt this. Who does that? He laughed despite himself, bitter and sharp. She grinned, sensing the crack in his armor. See? You're loosening up. Good. Because I've got plans for us. Plans. She leaned in, whispering hot against his ear. Bar scams, casino hustles, fake weddings on 3 different moons. You'll wear a tux, I'll wear white, and by the time the champagne's gone, so will we, with the guests' credit chips. He jerked back. Fake weddings. Why not? Everyone loves romance. You, the shy human. Me, the exotic alien bride. We could milk entire systems dry. That's insane. Insanely profitable. She licked her thumb and drew a mock wedding band on his finger. Congratulations. You're engaged. He stared at the crude mark, speechless. Don't look so horrified, she teased. You could do worse. He shook his head, but part of him wondered if she was right. That night, she didn't let him sleep. Not because of anything physical, though she made enough suggestive comments to keep his blood pressure spiking, but because she talked non-stop about her past scams. Selling miracle pills that were just powdered candy. Convincing a lonely asteroid miner she was his reincarnated wife. Trading counterfeit wedding rings that dissolved in water. Every story was darker, funnier, and more obscene than the last. He laughed until his ribs hurt, even as his stomach twisted with dread. This wasn't a guest in his home. This was a hurricane wearing a sash. At one point, she leaned back against his pillow and sighed. You're not bad company, you know. I almost feel bad for planning to sell your spleen. He groaned. You're kidding. Mostly. She smirked. Don't worry. I'll give you a cut. Of my own spleen. Exactly. He buried his face in the pillow. She patted his back like a mother consoling a child, except every touch felt like she was laughing at him. As dawn approached, she finally quieted, her voice soft but loaded with mischief. You're stuck with me, you know. You'll never get rid of me. Even if you tried, I'd just scream in that child voice and the whole block would come running. You'd be the monster, I'd be the victim. Face it, you're mine. He turned his head, eyes meeting hers. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence stretched, heavy and intimate. Then she broke it with a grin. Also, you snore. It's adorable. Like a dying vacuum cleaner. He threw the pillow at her, and she laughed so hard she nearly fell off the bed. As the sun rose, he realized she wasn't going anywhere. And worse, some traitorous part of him didn't want her to. He was already awake when he stumbled out of the shower, perched at the kitchen counter with a datapad and a smirk. Congratulations, she said without looking up. We've been invited to a gala on Station 9. High rollers, crooked officials, drunk traders. Perfect for a little light crime. He rubbed his eyes. I told you yesterday, I'm not doing scams. You also told me you weren't attracted to me. Yet here you are blushing every time I lick my lips. She grinned and flicked her tongue in a way that was definitely not accidental. Don't kid yourself, darling. You're in deep. He poured coffee, ignoring her. She kept talking. Station 9's a buffet of suckers. We pose as newlyweds, I accidentally spill my drink on a senator, you charm his bodyguards, I empty his accounts, we skip town. Easy money. No, he said. Yes, she said. And before you whine about morals, remember, these people are filthy rich crooks. We're practically Robin Hood, minus the charity. He sipped his coffee. I'm not a thief. You're evolving. She stood, sash sliding off one shoulder, and traced a finger down his chest. Every night you drink with me, laugh at my stories, and don't throw me out. That's not resistance. That's foreplay. He swallowed hard. I hate you. You adore me. She leaned closer, voice dropping. And after Station 9, you'll adore me more. The way she said it made his stomach clench. This wasn't just a con. It was something messier, stranger. She'd taken over his life without force, and now he was starting to like it. She turned back to the datapad. I've already arranged the passes. You're Mr. Varric. I'm Lady Xenia. Wealthy, scandalous, hopelessly in love. Everyone will believe it. He muttered, because it's true. She froze, then smiled slowly. Careful, sweetheart. You're almost flirting back. He looked away, cheeks burning. She chuckled. Don't worry. I'll train you. They spent the next hour practicing aliases. She corrected his posture, his speech, even his fake laugh. Every touch was teasing, every correction a double entendre. Stop slouching, no one trusts a sloucher. Shoulders back, chest out. Like you're proud of your assets. All of them. He gritted his teeth. I'm not your puppet. You're my partner. She smirked. Big difference. Partners split the loot. Loot we don't have yet. Optimism, darling. It's sexy. She practiced their backstory like it was a script. You met me on a transport ship. Love at first sight. You left your boring planet for me. We're inseparable, impulsive, scandalous. She paused, eyes glittering. Not hard to imagine, is it? He refused to answer. She leaned in, whispering, Say it. Say you'd leave everything for me. He stared at her, heart hammering. I don't even know your real name. She grinned. Names are for marks. You'll know mine when you've earned it. He wanted to throw her out again. Instead, he asked, and if I don't? She shrugged. Then you'll just keep calling me trouble. Works for me. By noon, she'd mapped out an entire con. By evening, he'd memorized his lines. Somewhere in between, he realized he was smiling more than scowling. She noticed, of course. See? You're getting into it. You're finally fun. I'm not fun, he muttered. You're delicious. She winked. I could eat you up. Not literally. Well, not all at once. He almost laughed. Almost. That night, over cheap beer, she asked him a question he didn't expect. Why'd you pick up that sack, anyway? He hesitated. I heard a voice. A fake voice, she said. A voice that sounded like it needed me. She stared at him for a long moment, then looked away. You're a sucker. I know. But you're my sucker. He didn't answer. She drained her beer, then added softly, You're the only one who never tried to sell me, cage me, or dissect me. Everyone else did. Even my old partners. I always had to get them first. He blinked. You're telling me this now. Consider it pillow talk, she said with a crooked smile. Something shifted between them then. The jokes were still dirty, the plans still criminal, but there was an undercurrent he couldn't name. Later, when she stood to leave the room, he caught her wrist. What happens after Station 9? She tilted her head. Why? Because. I'm not sure I want this to end. Her eyes softened, just for a heartbeat. Then she smirked again. We'll see. Don't go catching feelings, Mom. I'm a bad habit. He let go. She walked away, hips swaying, humming a tune that wasn't hers. He sat there, staring at the mark she'd drawn on his finger days ago, the fake wedding band. He hated himself for thinking it didn't feel so fake anymore. In the silence, her translator glitched again. Mom, it whispered faintly from her pocket, the old child voice. She turned, caught his eye, and for the first time didn't smirk. Then she shut it off, and the moment passed. Word count, 10:42.